Well, hi, welcome to my latest video. Well, in this one I'm going to cover the case that'll be part of my next PC build. Now, this is not an ordinary build. This is going to be my replacement for my editing PC, and it'll also have some virtual capability as well. I'm going to make sure I get DaVinci Resolve so I can remotely connect between multiple copies of it into this PC and have it do the builds and have it render the various videos that I plan on creating for my channel. Now, the cooling of the CPU is going to be different in this one, and I've hinted at it before. And that's pretty much confirmed at this point. I'm just waiting for a couple of more pieces to come in, but I'll mention more of that at the end of this video, so hang on. But let me take a look at this Corsair 5000D, which is the big brother to the one I have back there in white, which is the 4000D Airflow. So this one is considerably bigger, a lot more room inside, and it has a lot of capabilities for fans and for whatever form of cooling I plan on using for the CPU. Now, the GPU, which is my 4090 that I recently got, it's going to be left alone for now. I'm going to let it use its normal cooling fans that it comes with. That's the Founders Edition 4090, just to reiterate that. But you never know. In the future, I may decide to add that into the loop, okay? But this case can handle multiple radiators, whether they be AIOs or they be part of a custom water loop. So let's take a quick look at what it comes with, okay? Well, first of all, let me turn it around here. It's almost as big as a full-size tower rather than just a mid-tower. It's still labeled as a mid-tower. It has, of course, a little filter in here just for the PSU. Unfortunately, the only way to get to it is from the back, so it doesn't have access to the front like some other models of different PSUs. It has the capability of going with standard I/O panels, right, horizontally, or it has for vertical if you wanted to do the GPU in a vertical mount configuration. Let me take the glass off and we can turn it around. This opens the same way as that 4000D. You got two trap screws here. You loosen them until they no longer are connected, and then you pop here on these little latches. You pull straight out, and then you pull back from the front and you can take the glass off. This is the darker glass, as you can see here, but that's okay. We're going to have a lot of RGB in this thing when it's all said and done. See what we got inside here. We got a user manual. You'll see in a link down below, I put the user manual to the larger version of this, a PDF, because I like to have it, a bigger copy of it. So I print it out as I'm doing builds in it to make sure I have all of the things understood and located within the case itself. The case itself, as I said, it can handle multiple radiators. It can handle a radiator at the top. It looks like it can handle up to a 480. Top panel comes off. You pull that straight up. That's also fully airflow capable. And that's where I plan on putting my AIO. It'll be a 360, but that's good enough, I think, for just cooling the CPU for now. If I decide to ever cool the GPU, which will be in here, then I can put another 360 up in the front here if I'd like to do that. We'll see how that works out, whether or not that's something that fits in with my overall design of this particular PC build. Now, the front comes off pretty straightforward, just like my 4000D. You pull back on these panels here, and the whole front comes right out. And it's got a really nice air filter that's built on here. So you can easily clean it from the front. It's got, I'll leave it off for now. It's got the ability, as I said, to put what looks like another 480 up in front here if we wanted to do that. But it'll probably be a 360 when it's all said and done. It does include two fans. And these are non-RGB. There's one here in the front, and there's also one all the way in the back in here. To my surprise, they are 4-pin PWM fans. So that's a big plus. I didn't expect that. I'm not sure if I'm going to use these fans. Maybe initially I might, because I'm going to be probably upgrading the fan cooling capability on this as it goes. If we take the back panel, it comes off the same way. You take off these two captured screws or loosen them until they're dangling. And we pull on the two tabs in the back. And we can take the side panel off. It also has a filter on it because if you look at the side panel carefully here, you will notice something very interesting. You can put 3 more fans back here or another radiator if you'd like. I'm going to probably go with 3 fans. I'm not sure if they're going to be RGB at first or not. I may reuse those 2 fans that it comes with since they are PWM. This thing does have a little panel here to hide all the cables, which is really nice. It also has a fan controller here. It looks like it can control up to 6 fans PWM. I think it's really just a synchronizer. I don't think that it allows for software control. But, you know, I'll double check and make sure that that's not the case. I do plan on putting RGB and fan controllers into the system. I may do 1 or 2 depending on how many connections I have on those controllers. But what's really nice about this particular one, and I think this door does come off. Yeah, you can pull this door off by just raising it up. Oh, looks like it has something down in here. Well, this is the block for the front, so you can make it where more air can go in rather than it stopping short right now. So this is a replacement for the little component panel, which I'll show you in a minute, up in the front here. But let me show you the back first. It's got the ability for 3 2.5-inch external drives or controllers for RGB or fans. They're about that same size usually. If not, you know, there's plenty of room to paste things. It also has a little panel here on the back of the motherboard, but it looks like this is removable if you take this screw off here, which is probably how I'll do it because I want to have access to the back. So this little panel can come off and you can have full access to the back of the motherboard here, which is probably the way I want to do it when I do the build. But it has a lot of channels for cables all over this. And as I recall, when I read the instructions, let me pull out the little goodie box that comes with it. It's in one of the hard drive bays. There are a hard drive bay in here for 2 different hard drives if you'd like. And it's got the plastic slides that can go in there. And they tend to, Corsair tends to put the little box of goodies in there. So I'll leave that out for now. Let's see what we got in here. Well, we got the standard, you know, set of screws. I won't open it up right now. When we do the build, I'll open it up and spread it out a little bit. It's got, oh, I see. It's got a replacement for this little tab here that has a rubber bumper on it. So if you wanted to screw it down, that back panel over here, rather than just have it, you know, loose and ability to open it easily, you could take this and you can screw that down. But you have to change this little standoff that's here. It's about, I don't know, 1.75 inches that has to be placed in it. But then, yeah, there's a lot. It comes with many of these little tabs for doing the wire wrapping all along the way. The thing must have about a dozen of them in here, of those types of tabs that you can use and make the wiring layout, the cable management extremely neat on this, which is a real good positive plus that comes along with this one. It already has some of those in this channel over here, all the front panel wires, but there's room in here for more if you need it. So, you know, you can completely have the back end of the motherboard free to your access by just using these channels that it has all along the way. As I said, it has a hard drive little bay here, room for 2 hard drives, but that can be removed. There's 2 screws in here, and you could take that out if you don't like it, or if your power supply exceeds the size of a standard opening. If it's a longer power supply, then you would probably want to take this out. I'm not sure if it moves over. I don't seem to see additional panels, but maybe you can. Maybe you can shift it over a little bit. But there's going to be a limit to that because you probably want to use this air redirection panel that goes in the front. Okay, I think that's it for back here. Oh, let me come around. So here's the panel that would get replaced. So this one here would be replaced with one that, you know, provides more airflow. So this panel here that is almost completely closed except for one end here. Let's say you want to put a reservoir or something in here. That would probably be the best way to do it. The best way to do the reservoir probably would be one of the ones that mounts on one of these back fan chassis. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I'm not going to pull it out now, but it definitely can be pulled out. It's got plenty of airflow here. This part here is completely free for airflow. All over here. It's got plenty of airflow capability. Now, I'm going to make it, when this PC is built, so that it has a positive air pressure inside the chassis. And I will test that too at the end of the build, because that's important. You want all of the fans that are filtered, which are usually the front, and it looks like these side ones are all filtered. And you want the other ones that are pushing out, they don't have to be filtered. So even though this thing comes with a nice air filter, a magnetic air filter over here in the front, you don't need to use that. So I'll probably wind up leaving that off. And this is how it looks from the top, if you take a look at the very top of it. So where the radiator can go up here, and it's got the capability of 360 or 420 type of radiator. And it's got the front panel, standard of a new modern case. It's got power reset. You got two USB 3.0s. You've got in here one of the USB-C type cables that can go, very fast, a double USB speed. I think up to 20 meg in terms of speed over here. And it has a standard audio I/O. Those are all the cables in that bunch that I showed you in the back a moment ago. That's over here, so you have the whole bundle. And if you look carefully, you'll see the one for the USB-C. That's over here. It's called, I think, a Type E connector. USB Type E. And it's USB-C is what it comes out of the case as, right? Now the only other thing is, you see this panel here. If you're going to put fans on that back behind this shield, you probably want to remove that shield, and it can be removed. There are 4 screws that are in the back here that you have to access. There's one up here at the very top at this section, and a matching one down here at the bottom. But then there's 2 that are sort of hidden, and they're way up behind these fan things, and they're the large head ones, sort of like the ones that you use to lock the case, okay? Or the I/O connectors for the I/O shields. And there's 2 of those, one on the bottom, one at the top. You're going to need a screwdriver. They're kind of tight in there right now. And then once you take that out, you just give it a little bit of a lift, and that whole front panel will come out. Let me jump to that right now so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll remove it and we'll take a look. That's where a nice electric screwdriver with a bendable gooseneck really works, because you got to get it up and back in here in order to remove those screws. I got them both out now. Those are the hard ones. And now I'm going to take the one that's off the top here. I don't need the gooseneck anymore. And we're going to take these off here. I'm going to take the one that matches at the bottom. Turn this thing around. We'll give this panel a little bit of a lift here, and it comes right out. So now that panel's removed. And if we look at this, we now have full access to these fans. We got plenty of room here. We could take this bottom part out, as I said, and have more room for a reservoir or whatever. And I think that's pretty much all the features that I wanted to show. Now, as I said, I've made a decision that this is going to be a custom water-cooled build. So in my next video, I'm going to show you all of this stuff that I bought. I'm still waiting with a couple of parts, but it should be in the next few days. I'll get it and I'll make that video, and you'll see what I'll be doing to make that custom build. All of the components and all of the tools and everything that's needed to do it. I've never done one before, so we're sort of going to be learning together on that, okay? So until the next time, thanks for watching.